What's going on, YouTube? Hopefully, everyone had a good holiday. Looking forward to the new year, and wanted to do a quick little history lesson. So, I've never purchased coins from Portugal, and every time I buy something new, I kind of do a little research on it, just enough to be a little dangerous, but um, also, to go over the beauty of the coins themselves and give you guys an idea of, what's valuable and what the story is behind it. So I found this lot pretty interesting. So it was a 10 coin lot. I got them all like in these holders here because I already have them listed on eBay. Two of them already sold fast. So within 24 hours. So I wanted to kind of go over the coins themselves just to kind of show you, because it's weird, right? So like a lot of them have like monarchs on it, and then all of a sudden you don't. So I was like, well, what's up with that? So kind of like if we were to look at our US coins here, and then all of a sudden like we just stopped using real people, and then we started using fictional people, which we kind of do, right? Like here in the United States, we kind of mess around and put presidents, but not all the time. It's usually fictional characters that somebody one day or the other did an artist rendition of Liberty and things like that. So very interesting with Portugal. So first I'll go over the two coins that sold. I'm going to take these out. I'm not going to use gloves. I just wash my hands with Dawn soap, which again, I recommend you guys do. Anytime you're handling coins, don't like go eat French fries and a burger and then like start handling your coins, or eating chips while you're like going through coins. Dude, that's nasty, and it's really going to mess up the coins. I mean, these things are old. Granted, like who knows what people were doing back then, but chances are they weren't eating French fries and hamburgers and potato chips. They were probably eating mush back in the 1800s. Anyways, so let's go over the first one that sold. So this is an 1882. So they called them the Reis. A Reis was the name of the actual monetary unit. And we've got this dude here. So this is not going to look the greatest. I'll try and give you as much detail as possible. But we've got this guy Luis here. So Luis is an interesting guy. So he reigned from 61 so 1861 to 1889. Their coins are pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me, like we're like here in America, we're always comparing to our U.S. coins. So these kind of remind me of like the old pennies, but it's not like the size of a penny. Like it's a little bit bigger. It's weird, right? So it's literally like this is like the size of a nickel here in the United States, as far as that goes. And then we've got the next one here. So that was a 5 Reis. So this one's like sold for $5. They made a lot of these, like 5.2 million. So it was a common coin used. And then here's the 10 Reis. Zoom back out here. These coins don't show up the greatest on my camera here, even though I got like super powerful light. So here again is Luis again, and here we have a 10 Reis. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So again, pretty basic design, but again, Portugal was in a monarchy at that time. A lot of these guys or people that were in charge, it's weird. Like a lot of parts of Europe, like it's all connected with England. So because England was like the original monarchy, so it's kind of interesting how like all those European countries are kind of mixed with England one way or the other, right? So here's an 1883. This is a 20 Reis. Again, it's got Luis on here. This one's not as nice. Anyways, these two here, the 5 and the 10, they sold for $5 each. And on all 10 of these coins, I paid $71. So some of these coins I'll be losing money on, but that's okay, because you really want to just get coins like this to learn from. Happens if I put this in the right way. So there's kind of like two theories of thought. Like I could have just spent $70 on one really nice Morgan and sold it for $140 and be done with it. But then like I've already done that, so to me it's kind of boring. So like why not make it a little more exciting and learn a little history while you're at it. So I like picking up stuff like this. I find it very interesting. You can get these things. They're very affordable, and they're like super old. Because like if you got this type of quality from an American, so like if you found an old, and our cents are not this big. Our large cents are probably about this big. But if you found something this big, I think it goes back a little later. I think 1883. Were we messing with the Indian penny still? Maybe it did have large cents. But these can get really pricey here in America. Like these type of coins, if they're in this type of quality, we can actually like see everything. They give you like hundreds of dollars, which is kind of ridiculous. So I think it's cool. Like even though, like what do I think of Portugal? Well, I think of Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best soccer players. Like that's kind of all I know about Portugal, and I know they speak Portuguese. So again, this is an ignorant U.S. Educated person's outlook on the country of Portugal. I've never been there. I just know they're really good at soccer. So, and they have one of the best soccer players ever. Like just like Argentina, right? You got Messi. But I find their history pretty interesting. So here we have like Luiz, right? So we got this guy Luiz. He like dies at 50 years old. So these monarchs, they probably ate like really, really bad. And again, health back then, like who knows, right? But that guy only reigned from like 61 to 89. So Luiz passes away. He's 50 years old. And then his son, Carlos, takes over from 89 to 1908 or whatever. And I don't think I have any coins with Carlos, but this is when Carlos was in charge. So this 1900, 50 Reis, they made a lot of these, 8 million of these. So, this is a nice example, but something like this will probably be like $5. Actually, it is $5 in my store. Again, just looking to turn these. So here is Carlos. So Carlos, or as they say in America, Charles, or English Charles. So Charles was obviously a very popular name. And guess what? There's King Charles now in England, right? So here we have Carlos, which is also Charles in English. And he had an interesting life. So this dude got assassinated. So Portugal, I guess at the time, was kind of falling behind the times. So like the rest of the European countries were, going through industrial revolution and things like that. And Portugal was kind of like lagging behind. So when things aren't going really well, the politicians tend to take over and they kind of blame the monarchy, right? It's like, hey, monarchy, you're not doing your job. So to find Carlos on the coins, it's pretty common as well. So this one here from 1893. They made 1 million of these. So there's quite a lot of these, but this is silver. The silver content's interesting. It's 9170. So it's not 90%. It's not 80% like Canada. It's 9170. So if you find Portugal coins from this time period, they have more silver content than U.S. coins from this time period, which is I find kind of interesting. So if you're ever like digging through like a world pile of coins and you see Carlos here, and it's not, oh, by the way, these brown ones, these are bronze. They're not copper. I guess bronze was more common back then. This 1900 is copper nickel. But this 1893, and again, I thought that was a 5. Like, that totally looks like a 5, doesn't it? Like, here, I'll zoom in. But it's definitely a jacked up looking 3. It's hard to even see here. Anyways, trust me, guys, it's a 3 because an 1895 doesn't exist. I was going nuts because I'm like, what am I seeing wrong? But when I take the loop out, it's definitely so. But again, like the reverse is so boring, right? It's like the same reverse as before, but they just put the different monarch on here. So poor Carlos, he got assassinated. He got smoked. He did have a couple kids, but it's sad because like Carlos got smoked, and then like his oldest son got smoked as well. So then you have this guy Manuel, and look how young little Manuel looks, right? He was super young, but he was like in the Navy and stuff, so he's like a military son. So they didn't kill Manuel, basically because he wasn't in the same caravan when Carlos got assassinated with his eldest son. So this guy had a really interesting life. He only reigned from like 1908 to 1910. And then basically like the Republic, like some political party basically took over the country, and this guy basically fled the country and lived out the rest of his life in England. So again, 200 Reis. Here's again the crown. Again, pretty cool reverse. It's kind of boring, right? You just have, some leaf action or whatever that is. And then you have the crown. I always think the crowns on stuff is cool. Again, here in the United States, the way we think of a crown is either like obviously like a king or a queen, but the way I guess we're raised around here, it's kind of like tales of knights, not so much people in charge of us. I guess that's the best way to put it. Whereas if you're from Portugal, you probably think of the crown the same way, although this was the last year, 1909, or 1910, where you actually had a monarchy, and ever since then, it's been run by the government itself. I'm pretty sure they're democratic nowadays, but be interesting to talk to a Portuguese person who is still alive, even like an older person, and kind of get their sense of like, hey, what do you think of crowns when you see them on your historic coins? And they'll probably be like, I don't care. We're democratic and, so on and so forth. But I just find it kind of interesting, right? Because like we could have had crowns on our coins. Well, we did a long, 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 long time ago when we weren't the United States yet, because we were using other world coins, which again was just silver and gold and whatever else they used to trade back then. But our actual coinage just always had images of liberty, which means, freedom. So again, crowns here in the United States, I guess marketing, we think of Crown Royal if we're into alcohol, or we think of like the tabloid stuff, with I mean it's kind of a joke, right? Like we really don't. I don't know. We kind of like don't care. I mean, we kind of care, but we kind of don't care here in the United States because it's like, whatever. Again, that's so if you're watching from another country, like I don't know, how do you see the crown? Because all the other countries around the world have had some type of monarch one point or the other. We almost had one here, but we're too far away geographically. That's why we ultimately did not stay a monarchy. So anyways, this poor guy, super young dude, he gets exiled to England, and to find him on coinage. So to find this in this collection, I thought was pretty cool. Well, it's not super valuable. I'm asking like $10 for this coin. It's got a little stainage. Little tonnage on there, but all in all, a nice coin. And again, this is a weird silver content as well. It's 83.5, so it's 83.5%, which I think is odd, but that's just how they rolled, back then. So next we have the ninth. So here, so here's what's kind of cool. So I've got the 1909 and the 1910. So 200 Reis and 100 Reis, and the 1910. Reis, they made 6.3 million. Again, I'm only asking $8 for this one. Again, same design in the back, but I just find it interesting. Like this guy here only reigned for 2 years because his older brother and father got assassinated, and then in 1910 in October he got the boot. Well, he basically fled the country because they didn't want a monarchy anymore. But it was really weird. So like England kind of like he lived in London the rest of his life. And then the end of his life, it's kind of questionable. I think it was like 1932. He died of suffocation or something, but it doesn't make sense because he literally was playing tennis like the week before. So they're like, why would he die of suffocation if literally he was in perfect health playing tennis? So somebody probably drugged him and put a pillow over his face and said goodbye. Which, again, could have been someone from Portugal that just didn't like the fact that this dude was still alive. Because when you think about it, when a king or a monarchy, imagine how many people they know, right? Like, imagine how many people and you're not famous, you're not a monarchy. Imagine how many people know this guy or use him as political bait. So even though he was exiled from his own country, he was kind of calling the shots with England kind of behind him to... Again, what was best for England at the time. There's always like some type of control, right? When you have a bigger country over smaller ones, you always have some type of control. Just like here in the United States, we have so much control over other countries. Like, dude, we're sending $80 billion, or we're spending $80 billion for the war in Ukraine, which is like If we didn't care, we wouldn't spend a dollar, but that was part of the $1.3 trillion act that we just passed. So obviously we really care what happens in Ukraine when we're sending them, $80 billion, which most of it, I guess, is to replenish the weapons and stuff that we gave them. But whatever, that's getting political stuff. So here's where it gets interesting. So after 1910, you don't see dudes anymore on the coinage. You see this variation or version, and you don't see any more crowns. So I'll take this one out. So then you don't see the reis anymore either. You see centavos and escudos. So, and it says Republica. So it was a Republic of Portuguese. So no more monarchy. So here we actually have a image of their version of liberty. So again, some type of artist. I didn't look up who the artist was, but they made this image, and this is like their Lady Liberty. And now it says centavos. They're putting a shield here, but notice there's no more crownage. So this what happens when your country is no longer run by a monarchy. So no more kings and queens. We just put a liberty on the coins. I thought that was kind of cool. Like I got to see the transition, and then like, for the blind like myself, I like to see really big versions. This 1916. They made 706,000 of these, so there's not a ton of these lying around. This, again, is 83.5% silver, so if, again, you find these in some type of world coin pile, and you can pick up for a few bucks, like, seriously, just grab it. Or if you can pick it up just based on its weight, because I know sometimes coin shops will sell world coins by the pound or whatever. Grab as many as you can, because they're pretty rare. So I'm asking 35 for this one. And then here's the larger version. So this is the full escudo. And again, same design. So again, their coins are kind of boring, but this is kind of cool, right? So you actually have Lady Liberty, and there's like some wheat in there. So it looks like wheat and looks like corn, or is that like the end of a corn? So I don't know. Like that might have been one of the things that Portugal was really known for back in the day. So why not put some wheat sticks up in their Lady Liberty's head. So again, they made 1.8 million of these, so not a ton of these either, but I'm asking 35 for this. So what's interesting in this entire collection, these two coins get my money back, sort of, because after fees and stuff, so I actually probably have to sell 3 coins, but it's like a learning experience, right? So, and then here's what's cool too, is like 1932, they start putting a ship. So someone's like, no more liberty. And then they blow up the shield or the coat of arms. So here's like the coat of arms here, but then they make it bigger. So again, that's probably after World War I. So, and then they put $10, but it's actually 10 escudos. So pretty interesting, right? So they go from like monarchy, kill them. This dude, Manuel, exiled to England, still calling the shots, sort of, from his base in London. Maybe not so much. Republic takes over. They throw liberty on here. And then like in the 30s, after World War I and all that stuff, this again, 32, I think that's when Manuel was assassinated. But they start putting ships on their coinage, which I think is cool. This one, they made 3.2 million. This is also silver, and it's 83.5%, just like the others. And they made 3 million of these, so I'm asking $20. So again, interesting enough, like these 3 coins, if I sell them, pay for all of them, what I paid for all of them. But like these types here, like I'm willing to let these go for $5. I probably could ask more or send these in to get graded, but I'm not into that anymore. So if you are interested in getting these, like this listed for $5, I think is really cool. Like, dude, it's from 1883. And it's $5. And I do the standard shipping through eBay. So literally you pay 81 cents to ship this. So for $5.81, you can get a coin from 1883, a bronze coin with Luiz. And then if you like the Portuguese history I just spoke of, you can then get, so you can get a Luiz. You can grab Carlos for, how much is Carlos? 1893. He's $15. So you can get a Luiz, a Carlos for $20 total, and then if you want to add one of the Manuel, for yeah, for $10. Oh, the 1909. Yeah, seriously. So for like, you can get all three of these. You can basically get the history of Portuguese for the monarchs, at least if you just want the monarchs, for like under $35. Like, that's how I kind of think of this stuff. It's like, even if you're not into it, it's still kind of cool to look up the history and learn a little bit about it. So that's my take. Will I be purchasing future Portuguese coins in the future? Yes, but I probably will try and pay a little bit less, knowing now what these go for. But these two have already sold. The rest of them are listed in my eBay shop. I'll get these carted away. Out of all the coins, this design is pretty cool. I think it's neat. Their reverses are kind of boring, but this obverse, whoever the artist is, I probably have to look it up. I think it's pretty neat. But again, the rest are just like monarchy. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I'm going to do another one on the Malaysian coins I picked up, but it was when Malaysia was ran by, or when the English monarchy was in charge of Malaysia. So they're called straight settlements, which I think is super weird. But I guess that's, you know, that's one of the things that England took over back in the day. So hope you guys enjoyed this series going over the Portuguese coins. And again, if you want to pick these up, I don't know how long they'll last. Like I said, I priced them out really, really well. But again, it's like I said in the beginning, I could have just spent $70, bought one nice Morgan, sold it for 100 and be done with it. But I wouldn't have learned anything that I already didn't know. So it's kind of neat to pick these up and go through each one and list them and take a bunch of photos. So again, if you guys see this out in the wild, pick it up. Their silver content it does exist, and there's really no old copper coins. They're bronze, so pretty neat stuff. So appreciate you guys watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll check you out on the next one. Bye bye.